recorded now. I meant to record it. We'll just have to do it again. Steph, I know you have to jump onto a coaching call, so and you have to go. Well, thank you for being with us. Let's go back to the questions. Hannah or Ellen Marie, can one of you guys scroll back and hit the questions for me?
Yeah. So somebody was asking to walk through the multiple offers. I don't know if you want to dig into that specifically. Can you sign electronically was one of the questions, like forms that need electronic signature.
So the first question, Katie Halleck is the one doing this. She's one of my coaching clients, and I don't know the answers, but what she's done is she creates one, I think, for each agent on her team. And then based on the property address, when people are filling it out, it will funnel automatically into a spreadsheet for that agent to present to their seller with all the terms in it. So it saves a lot of time in today's
market. Did the same exact thing, Christy, as Katie.
Perfect. So go ahead and you can talk us through that.
Yeah, so it was taking our listing manager a full day of work to compile, let's just say, the weekend offers from different properties. So creating that form and then having it funnel directly to a Google Sheet for that property. And we're also able to ask the questions that aren't typically on a proposal to purchase. In our market area, a lot of people are including appraisal, contingencies going above and beyond the purchase price, waiving all sorts of things that aren't on a typical proposal to purchase. So it saved a ton of time this week. Our hesitations were, how many questions are we going to get from agents? Are they not going to know how to fill this out? We got like one. It's been amazing so far. And then we created one for each agent for their listings.
I mean, in a seller's market, this is the prime time to try something like that because everybody will jump through hoops to get the property. So, they'll fill out the form if they really want the property. And then hopefully we'll have them trained as the market changed and we can keep that in place.
Yeah.
What was the second question, Hannah? You asked something about signatures?
Yeah. Can you do electronic signatures within a JotForm?
Yeah, so you can. And I just looked up, it looks like it integrates with e-signature, DocuSign, and Adobe Sign. We do not use DocuSign, so I don't know how it works on the back end, if it will put it right into your envelope or anything like that for any Keller agents out there who are using DocuSign. On the e-signature part, we usually don't have people sign forms that way. If we can send them through our regular form signing program, that's what we do. However, we do have a couple things that are more, like a picture, like we can use their picture, things like that. We send that through a Jot because they fill out a couple of things. And then we have the e-signature. It's called e-signature, just down at the bottom. And as they fill it out, they can just write on it with their finger.
Awesome. Hannah, what's next?
How do you have it automatically feed to a certain spreadsheet? So that's just the Zaps, is that right?
So Steph uses Zaps. I highly recommend the direct integration. And I think she mostly does that because she already had it set up before the direct integration. If you were doing it new, I would look into the direct first. It will feed into Google Forms and Airtable, Dropbox, feeds to Trello, all sorts of places like that. And you just set it up ahead of time. So if I was in Google Sheets, I would create new offer sheet or something like that. And then when you click the integration button, it goes out there and gives you a list of what you have. And then you just select it and then you let it know, okay, this box goes here, this box goes here, this box fills that. It's pretty easy and straightforward.
So Lynn asked, how would this work for me and one agent, my Rainmaker?
I'm trying to find you on the screen. So
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so it would work fabulously for you guys. So I don't know about you, but when I started almost 10 years ago with a single agent, I got a little Post-it note that would often say stuff like buyer's name and the price and something else. Okay, write this up for me. I wouldn't have any information except the 3 things on that Post-it note. So whether that be a new under contract or an offer he wanted written up or something like that. And sometimes he might put that Post-it note on my desk and then put something else on the Post-it note before I even saw the Post-it note. So it helps streamline those handoffs for you. And in the beginning, it might seem, I would only start with one JotForm. Don't overwhelm. Start with the one that you need the most information on, that you're not getting all the information. Agents, sometimes when we started doing it, I was getting a little, get some feedback on it saying, oh, I don't want to do this. It's easier doing it this way. But once they realize they don't have to think about anything, they don't have to remember to tell you about a well, they don't have to remember to tell you about anything else. They just select the form, fill in the blanks, it automatically sends to you, you're all done, and that's all they need to do. They can do it at 12 o'clock at night, they can do it at 3 in the afternoon, but it comes directly to you. You don't miss anything. You get all the information that you need on your end. Once they start seeing the value and the efficiency of it for them, not having to remember anything, it will help you a lot as well. So I think it could work really well for you and a solo agent. And you guys should be able to run on the free plan for a little while, since you're not having it go to multiple emails.
Right.
Love
Right.
it. Well,
I've been just trying to figure out how to work this with one agent. We had an ISA and that kind of failed miserably. So so we're trying to regroup, and I'm not a form person, so I should be, but I have my own written forms that I use, but I want to try to integrate it if I can this next year.
And it's a pretty easy drag and drop system.
Okay.
So you put it there, you want name, you drag it over, you want something else. So you can create very simple forms. I mean, we're talking about integrations and contingencies and all of that, but you can start very simple drag and drop information over.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Let's talk about that issue of buy-in. So Jess, when you started this, like, what are some tips for, oh, I'm getting pushback, I don't want to fill out a form, I'm used to doing it a certain way. How were you successful in implementing?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I'm in a little bit different position since I own the team, so I was able to say, sorry, do it. But since then, the key is really to make sure it's as easy and as simple. Okay, first off, make sure it's not a needless form. It's a useful, helpful form. Because we have created forms on the ops side before that this is great, it's going to work, and it just flops miserably because we didn't fully think through it. So the information, if you've taken Steph's Systems is Sexy class, the whole thought process of purpose, vision, and all that, it applies to this as well. Make sure you have a reason, a purpose, a value to it. So that's the first step.
So let me just interject there. For those of you who haven't taken that class, Steph teaches a 5-step process for creating systems. We typically start with the 3rd step in the process, which is brainstorming. And, oh, we have all these great ideas and we're just going to start doing it. Like, oh, I went to this JotForms class and now I'm going to create all these forms. You need to take 2 steps back. So step 1 is purpose. What is the reason? And you can only have one purpose. You might have multiple outcomes, but only one purpose. And then the second one is, what is the outcome vision? If I crush it with this new system, what does that look like? So for this, it might be, my agents are singing our praises because their life is so much easier. I'm saving time. Our clients' service levels, our surveys are getting better. Like, what's your vision outcome? Then you go to brainstorming. Brainstorming is quantity of ideas, not quality. Just throw them all out there. And then you're going to organize them and then go to next step, next step, next step. So just wanted to share that because I know everybody hasn't taken the class. Thank you, Mackenzie. Mackenzie just took it last week, I think.
Yeah. So that step right there, definitely do not miss that. Start with that, because when you can then take it to someone and tell them their reason and the vision, and if you can, depending on what it is, if you can get people who are using it in on that conversation, it helps even more. But I know that's not always possible, and sometimes you don't want their full opinions either. I get that. Second is to make it as easy as possible. So instead of asking, agent name and they have to type their name in, make it a radial dial things where they can just select or drop down or something like that. The more drop downs and selects, the better versus fill in. It also gives you better data on the back end if you need very specific answers. For example, on our lead one, we only want certain sources. If I leave it up to interpretation, I get walking around the neighborhood. Well, door knocking is the source. I don't want to see walking around the neighborhood because that feeds into a back table. So make it as easy as possible to collect the data. The easier they can run through it real quick and just answer questions, the better. And then make it, give them a place to put the items so they can easily find it. Whether that be just let everybody know to save it, in a folder on their, homepage, save certain ones directly on their phone homepage, put in a Google site, intraweb, somewhere else, make it very easily accessible to them. And then use the data you're collecting. I don't like to fill out needless information if I don't think it's going anywhere. So don't collect data that you're not using and that they know you're using, or they will stop filling out the form. And I myself do that. So
I would add, in terms of getting people to implement or to buy in, don't roll your forms out right away. Build the form, trial the form, invite 1 or 2 people on your team to be your beta testers. Whoever's going to be using the form should have a lot of input, right? So if it's the agents that are using the form, you can't create a great form without their input. So I usually, on my team, when I was on my team, we didn't use JotForms, we used Google Forms at the time. But I would either look for who's my top producer, who would be open to trying it, who are my tech proficient people on my team, who are the influencers on my team. If I can convince the influencer that this is an awesome idea, then they will convince everyone else. So that's kind of how I always went about the buy-in. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add on the buy-in? Anybody who's on the call? And otherwise, we'll go back to Hannah with more questions.
Well, Hannah's looking on that note. Once you get a form, you can also reach out to somebody else and have them look at it, whether or not another ops person. Just have them take a look at it and go through it and get another opinion that way if you don't want to roll it out and test it on an agent right away. I know I've gotten several sent to me and said, hey, can you look at this and tell me where there might be a linchpin that's going to make an agent stop looking at it. And so there's lots of other people who use JotForms or even Google Forms or whatnot that have a second opinion and look at it if you need help on it.
Yeah, and feel free to use our Be a Boss Facebook group for that. I know a lot of people have done that. Jerica just made an awesome comment. I have a feedback box on the bottom of my form so they can share their thoughts while it's fresh. That's awesome. So they're frustrated about not being able to do something or having to do too much. They can just give you the feedback right there. Awesome. Questions, Ellen Marie, Hannah?
So Jessica, somebody asked for you to explain what Airtable is.
Oh, okay. So Airtable is similar to Excel or Google Sheets. It gives some different options into it. It allows you to group things and let's see. Yeah, you can sort like you would do on Google Sheets or Excel, but the grouping is the main reason we use it for a lot of things. We can go in and
so what's an example of what are you using it for?
Okay, so we have a client, a 1-year client appreciation VIP after they close a house, awards I don't know what we call it.
Like a VIP program.
Yeah, we call it a VIP program. So at the end, when we close out a transaction, one of the TC's tasks is to fill out the job form, and the link is in the task, and they fill out the form that says who it's going to, what their address is, and then the different month criterias. And when they fill that out, it flows into Airtable, and due to the grouping, we can then easily sort and group that month's. We can group it by month, and we can group it by, so we can look at all of January's and then group it by this person gets level 1 or month 1, this person gets month 5 gift, this person gets month 8, whatever it is.
So you're not duplicating gifts.
So we're not duplicating. And then the lady who runs that program for us has access to that sheet as well. So when she sends it out, she can just go in there, look at it all. She changes the things to say sent, and we're good.
Awesome. Okay, Hannah.
Okay. What about phone integration? What's JotForms look like on your phone?
Oh, good question. So filling out a form, it's super easy, and I could probably pull one up on my phone and kind of show you in a second. Let me
Actually, and I know at least one of the teams that I coach, they don't have their JotForms on their intranet site. They actually have the JotForms app on their phone, so that the library within JotForms is right in there. Someone had asked a question of how do they know if they've sent a JotForm. If you've got the library right on there, they can see what's been sent in there. And I don't know, I think you can probably set it up to automatically email a confirmation that the form's been sent.
Yeah, so, and that, I know several teams that do that. To me, that is, I have, our DOO and myself have way too much anxiety over all the forms that we've built out. So there's only 3 of us allowed in the back office of it, for loss purposes. But anyways, here it is on the phone. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's pretty easy. Sorry, it's kind of fuzzy, but it's pretty easy to fill out. The app isn't as easy. It's easy to fill out the form. In order to create a form, that's not as easy on your phone as a computer.
Yeah. Okay, what other questions?
The last one I have written down is, are you using JotForm tables?
So no, which that is a new feature. I think it just came out within the last 6 months. What it essentially does is feed things directly into kind of a table, Excel type format. Since we do use Airtable, and I feel like Airtable is a little bit more robust on what we need tables for, and the integration is so easy, we have things usually just direct integrated into that. But it would be a good option to look into for what you need, because it does automatically create everything into a table, so you don't have to do direct integrate. And I feel like they're going to build it out more, but it is a newer program. Another newer program is Jotform Reports. So you can pull up, we have in our farm, people can order t-shirts. So what we were able to do is create, when we needed to buy new t-shirts, we were able to run a report to see how many, we have 3 different colors and a multitude of sizes. So we were able to look at that report and say, okay, green in size large is our #1 ordered shirt. So let's order more of that. The rust isn't getting as many, so small number there and whatnot. So that report gave us a lot of details very quickly. And it just automatically generates, and then you can create what type of report you want. So that's kind of cool as well.
Now, I know that because you're the JotForms genius, or the not so evil genius, as your team calls you, that you also use JotForms for personal reasons. What are some of the personal things that you use JotForms for?
I do. So I create a grocery list that way. I also use it for books to read. So if somebody tells me about a book they loved, and I know there's like Goodreads and all that other stuff, but I tried it, and honestly, I don't know why I can't get into it. Maybe because I get tired of the questions they ask. But so I created my own that feeds into a table. And then I can also fill in, once I read a book, I can fill in how I felt about the book, what platform I read or listened to it on. So if I want to go back and I listen to it on Overdrive, which is free, I don't have to look through everything. I know exactly where I found it.
Love
So
it.
I'm sure at some point, like my kid is going to have a jot form she needs to fill out for something, but yeah.
I love it. One of you guys, I don't remember if it was you or Steph, said you did scavenger hunts on it with
Yep.
it.
Yep. So we just had a client event not too long ago that they filled out, since they can upload pictures or attachments, we had a scavenger hunt form, and they had 15 things. They could fill in 12, and each section said a dog with a red collar or something like that. And once they found all their items, they could go in and upload all their pictures with it. So we've done several type of client events that way.
And I had written down vacation checklist. Was that an example of filling out the form and then it goes to a PDF with a checklist of things they have to do before they go on vacation? I don't remember what that was.
No, we don't have that as a PDF, but yes, this is what you need to do before you leave for vacation. You know, switch your phone over, set up your email, do this, find somebody to cover for you, you know, who's looking out for you. But it's that whole vacation, as they're going through that, it then sends a copy to, which we don't have it on PDF, it's just the regular Jot, but sends a copy to our DOO and DOS so they are aware of who's covering and when they will be back and everything like that.
Love it.
Another one I absolutely love, and it's saving our ops side so much trouble and hassle, is you can do, and this is, you have to kind of geek out on it a little bit, but you can do math contingencies in the background. So does anybody have issues with splits sometimes and keeping them accurate? We do too.
Different splits, different commissions, different sources, all that stuff.
So we have a commission jot form that you put the agent's name in it and how much the price is, what the commission price is, what type of lead it is, and it drops down with all of our options of types of lead. When they select that, it automatically takes those percentages of the splits and divides that number up through every single person, whether that be a referral and from the team to another team member, an outside referral, our DOS split, a farm lead split, anything like that. It automatically calculates all of that. And then it also puts it on a PDF for us that we upload into Slack. So agents double check their commission as soon as it's filled out before it's put in to the command system.
That one's good. How many times do you get a commission check and then the agent comes back to you, this isn't right?
Yeah.
I love doing it right up front. What other questions do you guys have? Feel free to unmute if you have a question and just tell us what your question is. Anybody?
Lots of JotForm info.
I was just curious if you use any of the widgets.
Sometimes we have used them before. We have a Steph mentioned a swag order form. We have something similar with our farm, and they can order different swag that way. And we use the order form widgets. One of my drawbacks of not always liking to use widgets is that depending on what you're integrating them into, some widgets won't integrate. So if you're putting it into Google Sheets or Airtable or anything like that, sometimes the widget doesn't fully translate. But it kind of depends on what you want to use it for and what the widget is. Like the e-signature one translates, some of the others don't.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions before we wrap up? Hopefully you know what JotForms are. You know why we like them better than Google Forms. You got your 5 musts for your first 5, plus some ideas for some other ones. A little bit about integrations and contingencies, and then what else you need to know. Anybody else have questions?
Christy, do you want to recap anything from the very beginning since it wasn't recorded? Do you want to like actually read out anything that you know off the top of your head?
I don't remember at what point we came in. We'll just have to do it again, Jessica.
Okay.
I need to get you on here and assign you that task, Sheila, of reminding me to. I think, you know, if you're not using them right now, start small. Start with one thing. Try one, you know, buyer handoff or listing handoff. You know, I think Jessica's advice was really wise in terms of use the contingencies as much as possible to eliminate the number of forms. Get as much as you can on one form with as few entries as possible. And that's the way your agents are going to buy in. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of yes, no questions you can answer at the beginning. Cheyenne wants to know, we need to try, you know what, Buffy, we were talking about, Jessica, I had that on my list actually to talk about doing a breakout at the Ops Boss Leader Retreat where people are actually hands-on building JotForms. So I'll put that on the list. Buffy, you were there last year, so I'm assuming you'll be here this year. If you guys haven't been or don't know about, we do a once-a-year retreat in October in the Washington, D.C. area. Agents, sorry, it's operations people only. It's masterminds, breakouts, speakers, social. It's a Friday night, all day Saturday, and half of Sunday in October. So if you're interested and want to go on the list for notification of that, you can email me. Sheila, if you're still on the call, if you'll put my, or one of you guys will put my email in the chat box, that would be awesome. And maybe we'll do that. I love the hands-on, but I thought I saw another question. Oh, an example. Cheyenne wanted to know, can you show an example of commission splits form? Do you have that handy?
Yep. Let me find it.
Yeah, Megan just says, would like to see actual physical live forms, like maybe a screen share of forms. You know, maybe we'll ask you guys to post in our Be a Boss group also some screenshots. I think if you go on our blog, we did a blog last year about where you can use JotForms, and there's a screenshot of one of Stephanie's JotForms in it. But Jess is going to go ahead and share so you guys can see right now.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So estimated closing date, street address. I'm sure as I fill this out and submit it, my ops site is going to go, what is going on? Okay, so let's say it's $5,000. So now, just a note, we say transaction side total because if we have the buyer and the seller, we do one on the buy side and one on the sell side. One on the buy side, one on the list side. Okay, so let's say this is an agent procured lead. We have the buyer. So in our splits, we have an HRG procured lead. For us, we have a farm lead because we split out differently like that. Team member referral, that's team member procured. Team member referral, that's HRG procured. And then an outside referral. If I were to select outside referral, it would drop more questions down here, like how much they get and stuff like that. And then change it back to this one. Primary agent, we'll just make it Cody. So I don't know if you noticed as I did that, but it changed all these numbers down here. So
I love
and then this changes to Cody again, which this might be, this was before I discovered that you could put the same question in multiple locations. So at some point we might go back and clean up some of this versus having to do it twice, but that's on our future list. And then we can put notes in here. So great. Okay, so when I submit it, I'm not going to submit it, I'm just going to preview it here. It's going to show the same thing. You would get an email, whoever needs the email will get the email, and then the PDF would also be created, and it comes through looking like this. So it gives the address, which you can play around with these. This is a little high. I think we have double lines here, and that's why, but it's just that internal form. So it gives the all the information, gives the buyer's name over here, the agent, talks about the split. So from putting in that 5,000 and the agent procured lead, it automatically split out the percentage and the amount for the agent, the team, and the DOS.
Love that.
We don't calculate caps in it. So this is prior to caps number. These are the numbers that we put into, well, we're not doing it through command and not green sheet anymore, but these are the numbers that we put directly into command, and then they figure the cap out.
I'm looking at this and thinking, in our low inventory market right now, where we want to double end as many of our listings as we can, right? And how we're looking for off-market listings. If you're on a team and somebody requests a listing paperwork to be prepared for a potential listing appointment, that could automatically feed into your Slack saying, we have a listing appointment at this house in case you have a buyer for it. Boom. We've already like matched them together before we even go on the listing appointment. Like how awesome that is.
Yeah, we do have one like that too. It's a potential buyer, seller, or a potential listing, and it feeds directly into Slack. Okay, can you see the new under contract one now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go over this one real quickly, but so just fill out pretty much the same as, and here's other contingencies. Are there additional clients? Yes, 1, yes, 2, no. So it drops down where now these can drop down and you're not seeing them if there's not any. Is the paperwork in form simplicity? This is a yes, there's not another answer, and it says if not, do it now. It's just a reminder for them to actually go back and do it. Are they in brevity? Are they here, there? It tells what type of lead it is here, which they select this, and it matches what our commission form says as well. So they are saying one thing, we are double checking it, and then we are putting it on the commission jot form. So here's a part with more contingencies, not that one. So why is well not dropping down? Well, it's not working right at the moment. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, I'm thinking on the listing side. Never mind. On the listing side, on a new listing, it would drop down with more questions. Is there a pool? Is there a fireplace? I don't think those are contingent. Nope. Is there a mail out? Yep. So that one's pretty straightforward. We added this one in there, which we really shouldn't have to ask, but did the agent sign the paperwork? Can't tell you how many contracts we get that the agent hasn't signed the contract. And then similar to what Steph had, what does the ops team need to know to deliver 5-star service? So additional info, and then just the 5-star service question.
And then I don't see anything, but I think Steph does this. You're not requiring them to attach all their paperwork here.
No, we are not.
Okay,
so
just so you know, some teams are requiring all the paperwork be attached there so that they're not searching in Dotloop and DocuSign and email to find all the forms. You've got it in one place.
Yeah, so we require it very specifically in Form Simplicity, which is our e-signature program. So is the paperwork there, and have you shared the file with the ops team? So those are the two ways, or that's how we get the forms over.
So Rebecca, the answer to your question was basically what Cassie said. She missed the beginning part about why JotForms over Google. It's contingencies. You can ask if then, so it reduces the number of forms that you need, which increases the likelihood of buy-in. And the second one is the integrations, where you can have it feed to a PDF, for example, that's already pre-printed, or the integrations with other systems.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the two reasons? Did I miss one? I feel like there was a third.
And I mean, I know this is minor, but I'm very artsy. The aesthetically pleasing part to me is just, personally, I feel like Google Forms should be coming from an elementary school. Like that's what they look like to me, where I feel like JotForms can be built out to look a lot more professional.
And I think the more aesthetically pleasing it looks, simpler, the more likely the agents are to use it. right? If it looks good.
Yeah, so a note on that, one of the first questions you get when you are building out a form is, I'll screen share again, hold on. I have to find my screen and I lost you guys. Okay. One of the first questions you get is, oh, here's the PDF import a form, which is what Steph was talking about. If you don't want to do that, so classic form or card form, never use a card form unless it's a very specific reason. It floats from one page to the next page. And the more it does that and the more movement there is, that you get less buy-in on a team form type way, because it's extra, it's not really extra work, but it's almost extra time versus going through a form and just filling out the questions. So I would say never use a, there you can see my whole ginormous list.
Love it.
Yeah.
You know, that makes me think of another thing with buy-in is I would test it out. If you have high Ds on your team, ask one of the high Ds to be a tester of your forms, because a high D, their biggest fear is to waste time. So they will help you get your questions down to the lowest number, which will ensure buy-in with everyone else.
Okay.
So I think we kind of covered a lot of ground here today. I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. And Jess, we might have to do it again since I forgot to record the first part. And I will ask Stephanie and Jessica both to share some sample forms in our Be a Boss Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have questions, reach out to us. I think Sheila posted my email, Christy@opsbosscoaching.com. Feel free to check out our YouTube channel. Some of our other masterminds are on there. We had an awesome one that we did on Google Sites and how to set up your intranet for your team. And we hope to see you in some of our classes soon. We have 3 Be a Boss, 10 Secrets of a Mega EA classes in April, and 1 Systems Are Sexy in June. That's what's on the books right now. And if you guys want to get scheduled, message me and connect me with your team leader or your OP, and we'll get you set up. And thank you guys for joining us. Have a great, fantastic day, and go get bossy.
Yeah, real quick, Buffy did ask about a contingency video, so I'll create one real quick and post it to the page so you guys can see how to do that.
You're awesome. Thank you so much, Jess. We love your evil genius. You're not so evil genius.
That depends on the day I turn things in. So.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.